Why is fermented food good for you? There are many reasons why they are not only good but great for you, like fighting bad infections, supporting a strong immune system, improving gut health, reducing the possibilities of cancer, among many benefits it can bring. And if fermented foods and their benefits are of importance to you, we recommend you to stick around till the end of the video. Why fermented foods good for you? Coming up. This video is brought to you by Good Health Corner. At Good Health Corner, we bring research health information in a simplified manner that is easy to understand. If you like what you see here, we request you to support us by clicking the like, subscribe and the bell button. This will ensure that you get notified every time we release a video. Disclaimer: the health statements made in this video and the site are not intended to diagnose, treat or cure or prevent any disease. They are solely for informational purposes. Always consult your doctor before implementing any treatment protocol. To understand what are fermented foods, first we need to understand what is fermentation. So, what is fermentation? Fermentation is a process in which microorganisms in foods create a desirable change so that they can be stored longer, increase flavor or enhance the foods to bring even more health benefits. We are all made up of microorganisms like bacteria and yeast, and these microorganisms use carbohydrates to survive. They use the sugars and glucose in the foods for energy and fuel. In this process of fermentation, the microorganisms in an oxygen-deprived environment use anaerobic respiration to create energy. And during this process, the beneficial microbes in an anaerobic environment break down sugars and starches into acids and alcohols. This helps in making these foods more nutritious and extends the shelf life to store them for longer periods. Fermentation produces beneficial enzymes, and enzymes are required by the gut to digest food. The addition of these natural enzymes helps the body tremendously in breaking down foods and utilizing them for other essential metabolic purposes. So now the question is, what are fermented foods? After understanding the science behind fermentation, now let's understand what are fermented foods. Fermented foods are foods that have gone through this process of anaerobic respiration, breaking down glucose for energy and multiplying in numbers and crowding the food with an abundance of beneficial microbes. And these microbes in billions of colony-forming units, also called the CFU, help to keep the gut populated, keep the harmful microbes under check, provide necessary enzymes for digestion of food, support the strong immune system and also brain health by helping in the production of different chemicals and neurotransmitters. Some good examples of fermented foods are yogurt, cultured milk, kefir, sauerkraut, kimchi, kombucha, etc. But unfortunately, most of the store-sold yogurts and milk ferments are pasteurized, meaning they are heat-treated. And this results in killing all the good bacteria along with the bad ones. So, it is best to make them at home. And of course, there are many more fermented foods that are specific to different countries and cultures. For example, kimchi is originally from Korea and has been around for centuries. Now the million-dollar question, why is fermented food good for you? There are many benefits of fermented foods. On top of them being delicious additions to our diet, can bring remarkable transformations to anyone's health. It improves digestion. As we all know, the gut is the second brain. So a gut imbalance can have a detrimental effect not only on the body, but also on mental health. And a compromised gut health has been associated with practically all types of critical illnesses. Fermented foods help to replenish the bacteria in the gut, making it strong. Our gut houses more than 100 trillion bacteria, and these bacteria have very important functions for our well-being. The bacteria in the gut are responsible for producing enzymes. And enzymes are required to break foods down to compounds which the body can use to create energy and use in the different cellular functions. Food intolerance arises when the body is not able to digest specific foods, as the body may be lacking in the production of specific enzymes for the digestion of those foods. Fermented foods add an abundance of wide variety of bacteria which helps in digestive health. It supports a strong immune system. Strong gut health leads to a strong immune system. The gut has all sorts of bacteria, viruses, parasites and yeasts. And they all live in complete harmony as long as there is a balance between the good and the bad bugs. Any imbalance to the gut microbiome can lead to a dysbiotic state where the beneficial microbes are overpowered by the harmful ones. A few good examples of harmful microbes are C. difficile, harmful strains of Candida albicans, H. pylori, just to name a few. And these can cause serious illnesses, irritable bowel syndrome and even cancer. The gut is supposed to have a large variety of microbes so that this balance is maintained. Some microbes in large populations are extremely harmful and can trigger inflammatory conditions. For example, Prevotella copri is one of them and is associated with rheumatoid arthritis and inflammation of the gut if found in large numbers. Similarly, bacteria like Akkermansia muciniphila are required for a healthy stomach lining, and less of this can lead to a thinning of the gut lining. Fermented foods help in replenishing the gut with beneficial bacterial flora. In the process of fermentation, the beneficial microbes become healthier and multiply in numbers. And even after stopping the fermentation process, they still keep multiplying as long as they are in the fermenting jars. This helps to replenish the body with a large number of beneficial microbes by introducing smaller quantities of fermented foods. The quantity of healthy microbes being very large in number in fermented foods, you don't need a lot of these foods. And a much larger population of beneficial microbes than what a capsule of probiotic can deliver any day. It prevents inflammation and leaky gut syndrome. Our gut linings are made up of epithelial cells. And these cells are tightly packed, leaving no space for anything to leak out from the intestine. In addition to this, the lining of the gut has a mucosal layer on it, which prevents foods and particles to get in contact with the lining of the intestine, making it sensitive. In a leaky gut scenario, the mucosal lining of the gut wears off, making the gut lining exposed to the particles inside the intestine, and also gaps are developed in the tight junctions of the gut, making it permeable. And this leads to a condition where the particles from inside the intestines leak out in the bloodstream and body fluids. The basic foundation of a leaky gut is inflammation caused by some underlying sources. And some of the major reasons behind inflammation are food intolerance and infection. Fermented foods have beneficial effects and can help a leaky gut in various ways. First and foremost, there are specific bacteria that help in building this mucosal membrane and supporting gut integrity. Second, for our body to digest food, we require enzymes, and the bacteria in the gut play a profound role in secreting these enzymes. And in the absence of the right enzymes, the gut will find it difficult to break down proteins, fats, carbohydrates, and starches. And third, having the right microbial balance is critical in keeping the harmful pathogens off the bay. In a dysbiotic gut, the bad bugs take over the balance and cause various sorts of infections like Clostridia and Candida, to name a few, which are notorious to cause gut inflammation. It supports mental health. A large part of the mental health resides in the gut, as the gut produces many important neurotransmitters which have a profound role in mental health. Neurotransmitters are messengers of the brain which allows the neurons to communicate with each other. And they're responsible for various functions, starting with the feeling of happiness, reward, achievement, body coordination, voluntary movements, gut motility, etc. For instance, one of the happy chemicals of the brain, serotonin, is produced primarily in the gut. Almost 90% of the serotonin is produced in the gut. The neurotransmitter which is related to the reward system of the brain, dopamine, is also created to a significant level in the gut. Another neurotransmitter called GABA is also produced in the gut. Serotonin is responsible for regulating body temperature, sleep cycle, perception of pain, and emotions. Dopamine is related to the reward system of the brain. The feeling of achievement you get on finishing a task is dopamine at play. It is also involved in movements, and dysregulation of this can cause tremors like in Parkinson's disease. GABA is related to mood and anxiety, and low level of which is associated with anxiety. The gut microbes have a role to play in the production of these neurotransmitters. These microbes also produce short-chain fatty acids which affect brain functions like appetite control. Butyrate, one of the short-chain fatty acids, has a role in the maintenance of the blood-brain barrier. Fermented foods have shown to improve brain activity. Lipopolysaccharide, a pro-inflammatory agent, is produced by some bacteria. In a leaky gut condition, if lipopolysaccharides leaks into the blood, can cause depression, dementia, and schizophrenia. So, keeping a healthy gut is important for a healthy brain, and fermented foods can play a huge part. Supports cardiovascular health. Gut bacteria play a role in obesity. L. reuteri strain of bacteria has shown a positive impact in lowering harmful cholesterol, or LDL. L. reuteri has shown to reduce LDL by deconjugating bile salt in the small intestine. Moreover, bacteria in the gut are responsible for the production of short-chain fatty acids. A study on mice seems to suggest that short-chain fatty acids have a role in blood vessel dilation and constriction. And this has a potential huge role to play in the treatment of hypertension through short-chain fatty acids produced by the gut bacteria. The research on this is still in its infancy, but preliminary study seems to suggest that there is a strong correlation between high blood pressure and gut bacteria. So maintaining a good healthy flora supports cardiovascular health. And we hope to see many more studies in this area in the near future. It reduces the risk of chronic illnesses. A weak gut condition has a strong correlation to chronic illnesses. And in any chronic illness, it is not one but several underlying issues are at play at any point of time. Since a large part of our immune health is based in the gut, a compromised gut can lead to various health issues. For instance, frequent use of antibiotics in dealing with chronic illnesses like Lyme and other bacterial co-infections destroy the gut. And in such instances, including fermented foods can help in repopulating the bacteria in the gut more effectively than low-strength probiotic supplements. And this can help in managing the side effects of these harsh medications. Moreover, frequent use of non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs also affects the gut and plays a detrimental role in gut health. And having fermented foods help in reducing the damage to the gut and help the body. Having radiant health outside is possible only if one is healthy within. And gut health is of paramount importance, and regular consumption of fermented foods can help to replenish the good bacteria and upkeep immune health. It prevents constipation and diarrhea. Constipation is a condition where the body is not able to relieve itself of the stool which is retained in the intestines. And this can result in gas and bloating along with constipation due to the fermentation of the carbohydrates in the stool by the gut bacteria. And bacteria from fermented foods can play a role in relieving symptoms of constipation and help in bloating. There are several studies that show the effectiveness of probiotics on conditions of IBS, constipation and bloating. Including probiotic-rich fermented foods like kefir, kombucha or sauerkraut are extremely helpful in these conditions. Here are some tips on fermenting. Let's start with the starters. The fate of your ferment is dependent on the starter cultures or kefir grains or the specific probiotic strains you're including. Natural grains are a great starting points. Starter cultures are also great and provide you with a mix of healthy bacteria and yeast. Otherwise, you can also use your favorite probiotic capsule and put it in the mix. The strains, be it natural or from a probiotic capsule, will multiply as the ferment happens to make trillions of beneficial colony-forming units in the culture. Very important, sterilization of equipment. And this is very important. When fermenting, you would want to be sure that the equipment and the ferment jars used are sterilized. You would not want any bad bacteria to get into the ferment and get cultured. Temperature. For a good ferment to take place, you would need a warm temperate environment and not cold. And it is best to keep the ferment on the kitchen top. Catalyze the ferment. Add some sugar when you start the ferment, perhaps a teaspoon. The sugar here becomes a food for the bacteria and helps them to grow and multiply. But don't worry, the end product will not have any sugar. Non-milk alternates. For people who are lactose or casein intolerant, a great alternative is to use organic coconut milk for preparing yogurt or tender green coconut water for water kefir. It works brilliantly. So, in conclusion, why is fermented food good for you? We started with this question and hopefully now you see the tremendous benefits of fermented foods. And once you start preparing, it will become a part of your daily routine. Always start with at least 2 jars at any point, so when one jar is open, the other one should be fermenting. And this will help with the supply of fermented foods all around the year. Fermenting is cheaper than buying probiotics and at the same time are tens of times stronger than probiotic capsules. So, it's a win-win. Hope you have enjoyed this video. If you'd like to see more such videos, we recommend you to subscribe to our channel and give a thumbs up to this. A little bit of encouragement from you will go a long way for us. Thank you, and we hope to see you again. Bye for now.